So it begins indeed. We are once again back with the Fandom Collective Quarantine live stream, chilling, trying to make the best of it, To be honest, though, it's not as bad as I would think it is. I mean, as far as quarantine could go, we got fresh water, fresh electricity, all that, some food, grocery store still running until the grocery store stops.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. If the grocery store would stop, then we'd be in some trouble. I would
bit.
say. Oof. But that we don't got to hunt for caribou yet. No caribou and boars, buffalo, and whatnot. Not yet. So until then, we're doing all right, I'd say. I ate some chicken this morning. I'm going to have some nachos for dinner. Doing pretty good on my end as far as staying quarantined. How about on your end, Flipster?
Yeah, I just had some flaming hot lemon lime Doritos with sour cream. So, yeah.
Flaming hot lemon lime Doritos with sour cream.
Yeah. It might have been limon. Yeah.
That sounds like a mighty... How'd they fit that on the package?
I know, right? It's quite a mouthful, and no one can eat just one. Especially
so it's cheesy and lemony?
No. It's like they're really flaming hot. If they've got like a lemon lime tint flavor, and when you eat them with sour cream, it negates the hot. So yeah.
Okay.
Spanish cuisine, Georgia style.
I was about to say, because in my head I'm like, spicy cheese, sour cream, and lemon does not sound like a combination for me.
No cheese in that, but yeah, the grocery stores are fine. We just went yesterday. Was it yesterday? We got up at 5:30 a.m. and we got up there at 7 a.m. at the Walmart. It was open for old shoppers. Early morning they allow the old people to come.
Oh, right.
And we went with my mother, my youngest daughter, and I went with my mom, and it was fine. But I could say this: if we had come in there probably an hour and a half later, maybe two, that store would have been emptied.
Damn.
Yeah. No TP, barely any lunch meat there. You had to really pick and choose. They got a lot of old looking ham by some off name brand. That's about it.
Right.
Yeah, it was really weird. Really weird.
Yeah, I feel like if people were not trying to buy things in bulk, then I think there'd be normal amounts of shelf space on the grocery stores. There wouldn't be shortages. It'd be like, oh yeah, I'm getting my normal weekly stuff, and there we go, I'm good. But everybody's getting more. But I'm hearing stores are really restricting the amount of stuff you can have. You can't take more than one thing of toilet paper or more than 2 cartons of milk and whatnot, trying to make it a little fair so that, families can, disperse out all these necessities and whatnot.
Right.
Which is good. I think that's a good idea. It does kind of suck with all this stuff. And I mean, this is the best way to make sure that the infection, that the virus doesn't spread too far. If nobody's interacting with each other and touching a whole bunch of things around, spreading things around, then it's likely that they'll be able to, 1, have a lot less people in the hospital, 2, hopefully get people in the hospital cured and, at least healed up, recovered in some way. And if they're lucky, find some type of vaccine and be able to implement it to everybody that's got it. So less people getting sick, less people going out and stuff. Well, for now, I think we'll probably help that out. A lot of people are concerned it's like entering martial law territory, which I can see the concern for, but it's also kind of like human survival territory in my head as well. Also comes into play. So it's like your business doesn't necessarily outweigh humanity's survival sometimes, or, wanting to go out. I mean, I get it, but, trying to stop the spreading of a disease here, even if you can't get it, you could still spread it by simply being around. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I have to be around someone who has it and is contagious. And, I don't know anybody who actually has this disease yet. Do you?
No, I don't know anybody that has it, but it's like my mom's doctor said that she's kind of considered to be a high risk. So if I were to go out and about and do my stuff and go to places where other people have been that might have carried it or had it or anything, who knows, I could inadvertently bring it here and, risk her catching it or something. Right. So it's like, I have to really not my Subway's still open, but I only can work 10 hours in a week. So I'm only there for a couple hours, and it's just all handle washing, everything, making sure surfaces are all good, make sure I'm all good to not spread anything. pretty much. So that's kind of the goal. And I mean, I kind of agree with that, so that less people can get sick, less because they're running out of medical machines and whatnot. So got to be careful with that stuff.
You know, I'm not single anymore, but I'm just going to take a guess. And anybody out there, if you can answer this question, but what are the dating sites doing? Are they?
That's a good question.
Yeah, are they real active right now? Is
Oh shit! Oh dude,
down.
Oh, those are probably destroyed right now. Oh Jesus, that's a dead business, I would think, because you can't social distancing.
Yeah.
You can't, hey, how's it going, lady? 10 feet apart from each other. Hey, what do you like? Yeah. Oh, that's what you like doing? Okay. You look nice from over here. Get binoculars. What? Yeah, you're looking good. Uh-huh.
I mean, just like the toilet paper aisle, I mean, I guess you're just left to fend with the leftovers.
Pretty much. You gotta meet up in back alleys to have your plenty of fish date or OK Cupid or something.
Right. You're like, I thought you were a woman. Well, you get what you get, honey.
Yeah, there's not many options these days. But I'm gonna say hello to the chat real quick. We got some people popped in. What's up, George, Big Diggity Dick Lucas? What's up? We got those two bald guys. How's it going, Jay? I know that's you behind there. What's up? Everything Star Wars. What's up, John? I call you John, even though I know you're Rob, so all good. And Jealous Draven, what's up? Says hail all. Everything Star Wars says, yeah, the USA is right behind Italy. The cases are really picking up. Yeah, I can see that. But right now we've got an awesome guest in the backstage. I'm about to bring him on, but first I'm going to play the entrance scene for you.
Forth and fear no darkness. Arise, riders of Theoden. Spears shall be shaken, shields shall be splintered. A sword day, a red day, and the sun rises!
And welcome, Mark with the C. What's up, man?
Ha ha! What's up, fellas? What's up, chat? Fandom Menace, stand up.
Hell yeah.
and that was an epic scene.
I know, one of the best. That's why I picked that. That's the guest entrance scene. I love, especially the end of the dun dun dun, showing the whole army. Yes, love it.
Yes. Yeah. Now I feel like I'm not worthy, of that type of entrance. You know what I mean? That was wow.
No, yeah. You were definitely worthy.
Well, you guys to prove it wrong. So, what's up, man? How's it going? Tell us about yourself. What's going on these days, man?
Yeah, chilling. I should just say, because I heard some of what you were saying before about what all of this means for dating. It's like, there's a flip side to that too, because they can't hook up, but this will help you to break up if you need to. You know what I mean? It's like, if you have that one person who's been hanging on, you can't get rid of her for anything. You just tell the baby, I got it. You know what I mean? It's in your best interest. You know what I mean? And I think that will work today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to catch the COVID, baby.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't want to give it to you, so yeah.
COVID
take that if anybody
COVID
out there. Oh, there you go.
COVID cuties.
Yeah.
You're still working.
Huh? Was that?
I have a Google Home and they're broadcasting through the house. I had to mute it, but so you're still working.
I'm still working. Yes, I am. Is that what you said? Yeah. Well, my job, I'm considered essential services. So we'll probably be the last people to stay home. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. I know there's some businesses just like waste removal for like garbage men and whatnot. There's I think some car maintenance. There's a lot of things that are still going. Grocery store attendants, delivery services. Those are still always going to be going. Medical, of course. Yeah, Subway's still open right now, but it's like you got to walk in and walk the fuck out. It's basically it's got to work. Like got to get in, get out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing that Subway, but that's cool, man, because people, they need to have a sense of normalcy. You know what I mean? It's like it's not so much the anxiety of, even though that is. Hold on, you guys.
All right, no problem.
Okay, my phone was ringing. I thought I had one doing at the start. It rings even when it's open at the start. Something more protect. But yeah, like I was saying,
I think that's what people need, more than anything.
Yeah, I got you. Well, and it's like if people getting work in because, with me, I'm like, how am I going to pay for things if I don't have my job? Like, that's one of the main things right there.
Yeah, well, it's possible that there's going to be that unemployment relief in Georgia. It still hasn't popped up. I don't know how many of you out there know much about me, but I've been looking for work for a while. I went to school for the real estate thing and passed, and it was all good. But right now, with the quarantine and everything, it's like just dead. So, what am I supposed to do for money? I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. But
guys, can you? I think my headset went up. Let me hop off and come right back. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, you're kind of fading in and out. All right, that's all good. Well, I'll like to get back to the chat real quick. So, Pop Culture Minefield asks, which one of you is the Fandom Collective so that I could put a face to the name? And I said, we're both the Fandom Collective.
See, red and blue.
Yep, exactly. It's how we do it. Split up. We planned it. We planned this.
What are you going to do, huh?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. What you going to do? Well, see, what's funny, too, so I just wrote a message in the chat, but on my end, it's like we're having issues, and it didn't work. And I did it from my StreamYards, and it's like, okay, that's weird. But, oh well. We got the entertainment hacker in the house joining us as well. Said, I heard the comic business isn't doing so good. Gary, the comic, have you heard about that, Flip?
No. As a matter of fact, everyone that's been tweeting or getting some of their stuff put up there to be fair, we had Doc Hogg, who's got his new project going up. Then there's Red Gaze. They seem to be really pushing hard with their projects, but other than them, I haven't heard anything.
They meant more like with Marvel, DC, Valiant Comics, stuff like that. The non-CG and ones, basically. They had to comic book stores. Comic book shops were already on the downhill, and it was kind of like an estimated 2 years before they're down to 10 or so, before it really declines to nothingness, pretty much to brick and mortar completely. But so now they're basically completely at a halt. They're trying to adapt to online delivery services and whatnot, just like Comicsgate, honestly. It's kind of funny. I think they're trying to get there. I don't think they're there yet either. They're trying to figure out the model that's already been set 2 years ago by CG. So this will be kind of interesting to see how they adjust.
Yeah, all businesses are going to have to adjust. Can you imagine having, say, your own printing business right now? You'd probably struggle quite a bit to get out forms, letterheads, envelopes, business cards, and stuff, since nobody's really working. They're not doing business with other people. You would have to go buy paper, but if the paper shop is closed, guess what? You're not going to have paper.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the paper, the printers, the colors, the inks, everything.
Yeah, I would equate that to a comic business too. You need printing done, right? So if the print shops aren't working, guess what? Same difference. But
exactly.
As hard as it'll be, I honestly believe that the work they're doing within the government will end up, I think it'll pay off. And because look at this, it's been, no matter what your political affiliation is, it's been a pretty smooth road as far as the economy has been considered for the last few years. And smooth roads are good roads in the economy. They're not like everyone's rich or anything, but it's smooth. And now you're looking at a recession that could easily turn into something much, much worse. And if businesses are having to shut down, people aren't working, except definitely government. I don't know about you. I'm still getting the postal service delivery.
Yeah, I'm still getting that. I figure that's pretty damn essential.
Right,
So they have put a lot of restrictions on it, I think, as far as shipping goes from certain countries or locations and whatnot. I think if you're ordering something internationally, it's probably going to take a month longer than it would normally take to get there for you for some type of cleaning clearance or something to, make sure they're not spreading more disease or germs or anything now. In a way, so this is how I kind of see it too. It's I agree with you that this is going to definitely start changing things, but it's also going to change it in a way that will shape the future kind of like how 9/11 made it so that security systems are going to be different at airports. Now that's very normal to us. But before that's like, what? This is crazy. So I feel like we're kind of going toward that. I think your boy Zach said that in a stream. There we go. Here, let's have our boy. So Mark is going to enter again, but I think we'd all like to see the entrance clip again as he enters.
Forth and fear no darkness! Arise! Arise, riders of Theoden! Spears shall be shaken! Shields shall be splintered! A sword day! A red day! And the sun rises!
Ooh, get back.
I'm back. Yeah, I have to apologize for that. My son was just doing one of those things where he just keeps calling over and over again. So when he did that, it knocked out my my headset here, and I just have to call him back. I'm like, what? And he's like, mom just busted in my room and embarrassed me in front of all my friends. I'm like, son, can I get back to you? I'll pick you up.
That's when you got to bust into his room and embarrass him on the internet.
Oh, well, he was playing online. That's the thing. He was online, and I guess she said something that his friends could hear, and they started clowning him or whatever. Yeah. So hopefully this doesn't tidal wave into now she's going to start calling, and right.
That's all back and forth. I know the back and forth of which you speak.
The struggle is real, my friends. The struggle is real.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm forced. I don't have to do all that anymore. But the kids do it with me. So it's it's definitely something I don't want to do is embarrass them. But
well, dude, I'm divorced too, but that's what they do. That's what they do to me. It's like God bless them. It's like I play more like the middle guy, between them more than I did when we were together.
Yeah,
but referee, the messenger, the scout. I won't tell her you said that. All right.
Yeah, so bear with me if there's anything else that pops up or whatever. We'll deal with it. Yeah.
We got you. And if you have to pop out for a sec, it's cool. We'll just pick it up and then bring it back in anyway. So you're good.
Okay, cool. But I heard you guys talking about the disruptions and everything. Now the essential service thing that I was talking about, because I heard you mention it, and I never talk about it, but yes, I do work for the Postal Service in my other life. And it really does amaze me sometimes. Like, I guess the reaction that people have, because I was talking before we got interrupted about that sense of normalcy. It's like they do need to see a lot of times these things still going. It's like we want to be safe and everything, but for that little old lady or something, you'd be surprised how many people their routine is set to that, like getting those things, maybe taking a ride to the subway or whatever, because now nobody can do anything. There's no movies, there's no sporting events, and that in itself causes anxiety because there's no outlet. These things are outlets that people, they use, to cope. If you have like a struggling marriage, we were just talking about divorce. If you have a struggling marriage and now you're stuck at home with this person that it hasn't been resolved yet, can you imagine the level of anxiety there, of pressure?
Oh, yeah. What I mean? Say too, like kids that get away from their parents going to school every day or something, they got to be stuck with them for the rest of the year. Basically, it's like going out past summer. So
yeah.
Stuck at home with your ex to be with no liquor store in sight. That would be bad.
It's like where are you gonna choose to be quarantined anyway? It's like you gotta pick where you're gonna be planted for a while, because that's pretty much your only options, it seems, right now. And this is what I was kind of thinking. So this is kind of this does suck and it does disrupt a lot of stuff, but I mean, as long as they keep a lot of the essential stuff open, like grocery stores, waste removal, postal, things like that, gas, then I think in a way we'll all be fine, because like as long as we got running water, electricity, we still get food, we'll technically be okay. We're not like suffering. We're like suffering.
And toilet paper. Don't forget the toilet paper. As long as we have toilet paper, we'll be okay.
You got water and a washcloth, you're fine. Washing machine too, that's even better. You'll be definitely fine. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like in a way this is bad, but this will like I was trying to mention before, like your boy Zach from, he's another comic book guy, like Ethan Van Sciver, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. He kind of mentioned it, like how it's like 9/11, how like pre 9/11, all the security stuff they had at the planes and whatnot was kind of unheard of, and to that degree. And now that's so common with us now. That's just the way of living. I feel like something like that's going to happen going forward with this. My mom called this. She's like, instead of, they're going to start calling this before Corona and after disinfection, BC AD.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. But, I mean, the downside of that is that after 9/11 and after, these huge things, we do give a little bit. We probably give a little bit more than we would have before that happened. So it kind of makes you feel like, I don't know, there's a possibility that someone is somewhere thinking, well, this is how to get them to do what we want, if we shake them up, if we have them scared, Now, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, sometimes these things can be manipulated, but, the primary concern has to be our health, as a society. It's like we all saw the scene in the movie it wasn't Outbreak. The one where they sneeze in the movie theater, and
that's Outbreak.
That was Outbreak.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's like after that happened, nobody is ever the same again. When you hear somebody coughing or sneezing in the movie theater, everybody's like, "Oh, I know how this goes." You know what I mean? This is how it starts. So
gross.
Yeah,
it freaked me out. And by the way, that was a random guess that, I didn't even guess. When you said essential services, in my brain, for whatever reason, I thought like you work at a water plant. So I didn't guess, but that's funny that the reason I even brought up the Postal Service is I was going to angle into how it was in 2011. 2001, 9/11, when the Postal Service had to deal with the anthrax scare and all that. So have you guys been like briefed on anything like that in case it gets into the mail service? Or
yeah. Well, we're doing everything possible, just to make sure everything is disinfected as it comes, from office to office. We've always been pretty good with that, so it's nothing new. It's like, sometimes people say, well, we should have been washing our hands the whole time, And in the post office, we've always been, like very careful and very alert, about suspicious looking packages. We have a very long list of, of things to look for. And, when you're dealing with something like this, we pretty much depend on being in touch with the CDC to tell us, what steps should be taken. And, our Postmaster General and our people in Washington and everything, that's our first line of defense, because they bring the information back to us. And we have meetings every single morning, about what the latest updates are, because we literally go from door to door. So it's not just a matter of us, like personally, it's also what we bring, to that little old lady, who's standing in the door, waiting for her stuff or whatever. You don't want to pass anything on to that. A lot of us take care of our parents too. We're part of the society. So, we have a very, a very large interest in doing this in a way that's safe.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with mail, that's the one thing that a lot of people might not think of right away is that, mail, it comes from however many places it comes from with the, whether it's from international mail or from within the country and whatnot, things can spread really quick. So, I imagine that if it was already like pretty clean with how people handle mail, I imagine that in some cases there's going to be an extra step or something. Like if things come from like what I've noticed with like online ordering, like from Amazon, it's like, okay, so are you okay if this comes in a little later because we want to be able to ship out more primary emergency needs or whatever to other people first. So can you wait a few days? Okay, cool. And they give you that option. And I think like things like that are going to be like just a normal thing now, like stuff.
Yeah.
The little extra care that, might have gone there. And yeah, like with the mail and whatnot, my mom was literally cleaning off every mail that comes in now, kind of just wiping them off, because she was her doctor said she's high risk. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that means I got to be careful where I go, like so that I don't bring it here on accident or anything.
Right.
So just here to my work and that's it. But even with that, like cleaning off the handles at the store and whatnot. So when people come in, like that's something not everyone always considers. Handles
Yeah.
transfer a lot of stuff. Like a lot of things you don't think about touching or something can be what transfers it, which I think is why people are, we're meant to stay in home for this, which a lot of people are seeing as like unfair and unjust. But it's like, to stop the spread of disease for humanity's sake, this is probably the best option. And this is probably the best time in human history to be able to be like this, to where we do things online. We're talking right now from across the country right now to each other. We can get things delivered to us if we want. We can still, go out and drive. Like, we're not hunting caribou for food and survival here in the winter snow of, the ice age or something. We got a pretty good here right now. It's not the best. It's not fun, but it's not as horrible as it can be too.
Hey, these days you hear people, they love throwing around the word privileged. You hear rich, privileged, white privileged. It's like, everybody in this country at least is privileged, because all of us are used to going wherever we want. We're used to flipping through about 2,000 TV stations. We're used to a life of ease, of convenience and everything. And now, like I said, we're more challenged than ever, because we just don't have those things, at our fingertips anymore. So that's making it, harder for everyone. People don't want to take it seriously. They don't want to disrupt their lives. And as a result of that, you have the spring breakers. You have people running around licking toilet bowl seats. You know what I mean? Because they just
sanitation. They licked sanitation products. The guy licked the actual things that people are going to get, that people are going to pick up. That's what one dude did. He got arrested, thankfully.
Yeah, there are other countries that know something about illness. They know something about pandemics. They know something about, just plagues and things like that. We're just not one of them. So it's like, for us, the reality of it is we're just having a hard time thinking that it could ever happen. That each of us can actually be responsible for either the passage of this or the slowing down of it. We don't see how each of us can affect this, and I'm a conspiracy theory dude too. So it's like, yeah, I understand the people who are saying, oh, it's not that bad. The media is playing games with us. Yeah, the media is playing games with us. They really are. They're manipulating us. But at the same time, you just don't want to play games with this, man. It's like, all of us have loved ones who could be at risk, if not ourselves. Why not be careful?
Yeah.
So that's
my house and my parents as well. But I'm not the only person in the world in that situation. Have you noticed anything, speaking about being across the country, talking together, have you noticed anything about Twitter or YouTube that's kind of different because of the pandemic? I would think more people would be watching, streams or videos, but I'm just asking from your point of view.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's obviously we have to be careful, about the things that we say, and everything. But YouTube has been acting up for a long time, even before this. But, even more so now, it's like you really have to be careful about expressing, certain possibly controversial points of view. I don't know, man. It's like, as far as the viewership, you would think that it would increase more, with people being home, but, and I think I have noticed a little bit more of that, with the videos that I put out. It's like I got hit like a while ago anyway, with just, not getting the notifications out there. It's like I have more and more people coming to me and saying they just don't get the notifications. So, right. and I see that reflected, like in the views and stuff. So, but yeah, like I said, I would imagine more people are checking things out, Yeah, they just have more time to do it.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about that. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, it's like I'm 26, and like what you were saying before about, we had not really had this before. We've always been able to do anything whenever we wanted, pretty much. And in my generation of time, 26 years old, all the problems have been somewhere else. and it's like, oh, that sucks, that Iraq stuff, like, oh, that was also even the Two Towers, like that was in New York. It was like, that's the other side of the country for me. Like there's like a lot of things that have happened in my life has been outside of where I am, not right here. Like even things that would be considered in my state, and that's the other side of the state. Like it's not like I haven't personally had to have this right up in front in my own backyard. Like, oh shit, it's right here. And like for a lot of us, like people, you see the people on Twitter and YouTube like overreacting, getting all the toilet paper they can, getting all these things they can, like get in fights over all these ridiculous things and panicking, full panic. Like I guess that is the reaction of people that hasn't had to deal with it before, because the people that are calm are in a way the old people that are like ready. They're ready. They're like, this sucks, and they're the biggest targets of the disease. But it's like they're like, just we know we can hunker down at home, whatever. Like
yeah.
Just interesting.
I mean, I think every couple of generations or so has to have their defining moment or moments, that they have to deal with. And, for a lot of the young people today, it's, looking at this, like I said before, I don't think there's ever been a sense that your everyday life could be disrupted this way. Like I have an 11-year-old who's, calling me and stuff, but, so he's 11. And when this thing first happened, it happened on the weekend of a spring dance, they were supposed to be having. And that was the first we heard of it. The spring dance was canceled. And the next minute we knew, you're off for the next 2 weeks. He and his friends celebrated, like it was a big party, like it was a vacation, an early vacation. He had a book report that he no longer had to have finished, or so he thought,
And still doing school. Sorry, kid.
Yeah. But then the reality hit them that there's no movie to go see. There's no park to go to, because, after a while, the stay-at-home thing, came into effect. And then, of course, parents, started self-quarantining, themselves and their children and stuff, so they couldn't get outside, to meet up with each other anymore. And now, I do think that the reality is starting to hit them, and we got to be careful, because we have to talk the kids through this now, because kids, that anxiety and uncertainty is going to start to come about, so you got to look out for them, because they got to be feeling some way about this. They can't do, like you saw with, like I said, once again, with the spring breakers and stuff, they just couldn't get it through their minds that they can't do what they normally do, Yeah. And as a result, possibly as a result of that, we are reportedly, seeing a few more cases of younger people now testing, positive for it, so, yeah.
Those are good points, man. Well, and let's, like with the younger people, that could be the ones that are licking everything. That's what
it could be.
Things way bizarre, like, oh, kid, what are you doing? But no, I think that's a good point you're bringing up about the kids. Now, Flip, you're a dad too, right? Like I don't have a kid or nothing, so I can't really comment on how that would be. Like I know your kids aren't like children. They're a little older, but how are they taking it?
Well, my oldest daughter goes to college here in Georgia at the Burnell Women's College, and that campus has a Chinese program. So when it first exchange program. So when that first happened, they shut that down and shut the campus down before anything, like before anybody. Like, I guess because of the affiliation with China. So she's been living out of an apartment with her boyfriend, her fiance, excuse me, and he's a great guy. I really like this guy.
Good.
I love him, actually.
That's important.
Yeah, it's super important, right?
Yeah.
My boy, he's fine. He's here. His girlfriend's parents want her to stay home, and we feel the same about him. He's almost 19, but I mean, it's a situation. And then my youngest is 14, and she's out of school, so yeah, everything's fine. And I intermix that with the dating situation because, like I was talking to Rookie earlier about, I'm guessing that Plenty of Fish and dating sites like that are probably shut down right now.
Oh yeah.
Dating right now is, I mean, let's face it. I've got a girlfriend. She's pretty far away though. So, but I got one. And if if I was going to be single and I wanted to date, man, I'd be up the creek without a paddle right now.
Dating scene is done. It's done right now.
That makes me think of something. Did you guys ever see The Big Bang Theory, the TV show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's an episode where two of them had made this like kissing machine that's like, you know, you and your partner have it, so you can be across the, you know, you can kiss through the computer, and you know you move the things with it, you kiss it like it's a person, and then it will do, the one on the other end will make the same movements as you are or something, so you can practice kiss or something over the internet. And it's like, I feel like that would probably sell right now because you can't. It's so like things like that would be popular right now, I'd say.
Yeah. The sex bots is not so ridiculous sounding now. Now is it? You know what I mean?
Especially if it's going to be like, I was in the mindset that this is going to be like another 2 weeks, and then we'll start to go back to normal. Now I'm kind of thinking, well, I don't know, how long has it been in China? And okay, this can be like another couple months for all we know before it starts to even slightly decline and start getting back to any type of normalcy. So this has kind of got to be our schedule for a while. You know, we can either complain about it or just kind of, you know, adapt to it and see how we can thrive in it as best we can. Because it's like, you know, if you're just falling apart, it's like
no, it's got to be steady as she goes, man. You know what I mean? There's no room for panic, you know. And I got a buddy who's Italian, and he has he of course he has close ties, you know, with what's going on in Italy. You know, he's got a lot of family there, and he was saying that they're kind of predicting, and I don't want to get all scary with it and stuff, but he's saying they're kind of predicting we'll have a state like that, you know, in a matter of a couple of weeks or so. I don't know what they're basing that on, because I don't know like the rate of, you know, which like how it spreads or whatever. But, you know, this dude was predicting like, you know, the whole martial law situation. Did you just sneeze? All right, get him out of here. Over here. Over here.
I'm done.
Just
get me. Yep, I'm done.
My hand through.
All right, you just stay right there. No, but but anyway, yeah. Like I said, I understand from what he's saying, from what his relatives were telling him, it got pretty bad. So once again, that's and it is pretty bad, you know, as far as being not normal, you know, their lives being disrupted. So like I said, it once again, it underscores the need to, you know, like talk to our family and friends and stuff about like each of our responsibility in trying to slow this thing down. You know, it doesn't matter how you feel about Trump and all that stuff.
Right.
I guarantee you, he's going to be okay. All right. The rest of us are the ones who need to understand we got to take care of each other. You know.
Yeah.
And it'll be okay. Like I said, the panic stuff, I don't do panic ever. You know, there have been times when I thought that I was going to die, and those are times when you think, yeah, this is probably a good time to panic.
Yeah.
No, because ultimately, you know, what will be, whether or not you panic, you know, so your panicking won't change the outcome of anything, you know.
Yeah, see, it's like, I'm one who's terrified of death, but I've reached a point where I'm like, I can't be spending all the time worrying about it, you know. We already have a limited amount of time to begin with, so you spend all that time worrying about it, or not at all. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all human. It's like we go through our struggles with our own mortality and stuff, you know. But you know, I lost my brother 10 years ago. You know, he was like my absolute best friend, you know. And wherever we go, he went first, and I'm not afraid to follow, you know. So, you know, I'm living the best kind of life that I can. You know, I'm trying to raise my son, and I'm trying to do my job. And once my job is done, I will be one with the force. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wasn't meant to live forever. I know that because these days I'm seeing things that I never freaking thought I would see, nor do I want to, you know? So I can only imagine if you ever had to live forever to see some of the things that happen with the passage of time. You know, I think we're meant to be in the time that we are, you know?
George Washington wouldn't be able to help Ray, you know, with the Force and whatnot. He wouldn't be able to be a Force ghost and help Ray.
I don't think George Washington would approve of Snowflake and Safe Space either.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
That's a good transition. You know, if we want to change up the topic a bit, something else. Do you guys want to move into that into the New Warriors? Is that right?
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move into that. So you love them, right? The New Warriors are great.
Get the hell out of here! No way, bro.
They're your favorite.
Nah, listen, you see, where am I? It's like you see what's going on here. It's like, okay, you can hear me still, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I just hit something. I heard some strange woman's voice, but yes, it's like I collected comics, like a while back before I had to put all my money into being a husband and a father and stuff. But I love like I guess the lessons, that comics taught me, when I was growing up about responsibility and destiny and the hero's journey. It's like those things got me through, kind of what was kind of a rough childhood. People have had it much, much rougher. So I'm not trying to say that I just had that rough childhood, but, everything's relative, and it never was that important to me, to see a white character or a black character or an Indian character. I just loved character, content of character.
Yeah.
It's like that's what these people just they can't get it through their minds. Is that when Stan Lee created these and others created these characters, it was really about humanity. It was about the human condition. And if you can't be drawn to a character like Spider-Man, or anybody else you could name, if you can't be drawn to them, through what they're going through, it's like, and you just need to see someone who looks like you, I have to question who you are. It's like diversity is good for sure, but first and foremost should be a character that you can get emotionally invested in and have something in common with and relate to, and there's so many different ways you can relate to a character. It's like surface is just so basic. It's important to have that inclusion, but that was the first thing I was attracted to when I was reading the comics. The things that they would say, the things that they would do, and where we are today is just disgusting, and it's condescending and it's insulting. You name a black character, Snowflake. Snowflake. You name a black character, Safe Space. You're out of your mind.
True.
If you think you're doing this for those people, it's like no.
Now, all I ever wanted when I saw Flash was to be fast. I didn't know what color he was, if he was Asian, or if he liked to cook snails and eat them for dinner. I just knew he was fast, and I wanted to be like that. So I put a blanket around my neck, and he didn't even have a cape, and I'd run around the house. I'm Flash.
Yeah.
Pretty basic.
That's it. I think, the whole cape thing, you tied a sheet around or whatever and pretended you were Superman or Batman, and it was fun. I don't know, man. It's like I don't know. I don't even think these people mean well. Sometimes they're like, oh, well, they mean well. They're just misguided or whatever. Yeah. I don't think so. I think some of them are aware of the damage that they're doing, because I did a video talking about this. And I was saying, how could you come out with a character like, what is that, Trailblazer, that one there? Oh, and and she's she's a woman of color. Some people say that she might be Indian and everything, but the drawing that I saw where they have the profile, she just looks like a straight stereotypical, fat black chick who might be suffering from diabetes, and heart disease and all types of things. Now, when you're talking about a superhero, it's like the image is supposed to be something that you're challenging yourself maybe to see yourself at your best. You know what I mean? Yeah.
See, I feel like going with that though, real quick, is that you can make a character like that interesting, and you can build that character into a hero. A fat chick with diabetes trying to do something. You can make that into one, but it can't just be like that. Can't be it. Like there's got to be more to the character. There's got to be more happening, not just that. And because Fat Thor is kind of a thing. With I guess it's a little different. But you can have some type of struggles, but as to where other comedians or comics or movies might make it kind of funny, they would make it only serious, and that's the only thing that would happen, and they'd make it, and that's all the character is about. is what they identify as or what they are. And it's like, no, they have to have real problems. Like one of my old comic, it was a movie idea that I had that I want to make into a movie someday, which probably won't, but I might make into a comic at some point, who knows, where Jason Momoa, picture him all buff and whatnot, and then he's like a werewolf warrior. Cut to the present, and he's a fat dude playing video games and having fun and whatnot. He's out of shape big time. He's got belly and whatnot. And he used to be able to stop these villains, but now they're way more in shape than him. They can kick his ass, and they start hurting people that he loves. They start hurting people that he loves and knows, and it's like he's trying to stop them as best he can. He's pushing himself, but he's not strong enough anymore. And so he's got to find a way to get in shape and find himself. You can make cool stories with fat characters or diabetes or whatever, but you got to give them character. You got to give them motivation.
But he's got to get in shape. He has to encourage other people out there to get in healthier. Yeah.
Well, I guess like one of the things would be that he doesn't ever fully get back in shape. Like he'll still always be a little fat because it's kind of hard in the modern day to lose all of it when there's so much good things to eat. So, but I mean, the point would be that he'd be trying. He'd be starting to work out a little more. He'd be trying to get back into some old routine that can.
At least there's an acknowledgement. There's an acknowledgement, that he's out of shape. It's like, this. I think the idea is supposed to be that it's acceptance. It's acceptance. There is no issue here. Of being morbidly obese. Right. And there's danger in that. Like what was it? Like Tony Stark, he had to struggle with alcoholism, but that was his struggle. It's like it was identified. It was something to overcome. And that, like I said before, that is what makes a character admirable when they have to overcome something. This, like I said, is just about accepting it. You're not even supposed to question the fact that she's morbidly obese. I mean, I haven't read it yet or anything. I don't intend to. But I'm pretty sure that's not where they're going.
I agree. So, that's kind of what I was trying to get at, was that they will make her being big like something to strive for rather than something to avoid. Like with what I was saying with my character that I'd have is that he'd be ashamed. He'd be disappointed in himself for letting himself get this way, and that he's trying to get back to his old strength, but he can't because he let himself go so much. It's hard for him to do that now. But he's at least trying to learn new skills, trying to get back into shape, trying to do better than what he was doing because he was slacked off for so long. That's how I would have an obese character do. That's what I'd have them be like, to try to get them strive for better rather than accept that they're big and be upset when people make fun of them for it or something. Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. What do you want? What is this hero's goals? If they let themselves be like this, what's their goal?
Yeah.
What do they?
You got screen time. You got screen time, right? So when I was growing up, I was taught that we had to go over this whole thing in high school where they changed our lunches because their lunches were unhealthy. They put in these Coke machines when I first got into ninth grade into the cafeteria. By the time I was a senior, they were gone again. Why? Because it was unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So then we were having pizzas on Fridays when I was a freshman. By the time it was all over, we were eating freaking peaches and little tiny pieces of chicken sticks because they thought it was healthier. And green beans, forget about it. They didn't know how to make green beans. They did not know how to make green beans. I don't know what that was. Mush. But the idea was to promote being healthy. Nowadays, the kids, my kids say, I don't know about you, Mark, but the kiddos, they eat pretty good lunches. They're pretty healthy still, but they promote. I mean, this is the same thought process, I guess. That it's the same type of, political group, and they promote that this is like you said, this is fine, accept this.
Yeah.
As I raise my kids, we only let them have so much screen time, but this kid's freaking Ben 10 with screen time. Like, not only do they copy Ben 10, but they also let him watch TV all the time. I don't know. Healthy.
Yeah. It made me think about Batman and the reason why Batman is so popular. because he is a character who just couldn't accept himself. He had to change. And I think every stage of his development was about pushing himself. I was talking about privilege earlier. Obviously, he was born into privilege, rich and everything. He didn't have to do what he did, but it's so fascinating, like what something like that would do to someone like that. That's what makes him so interesting. Is he actually crazy, for what he does? And I mean, I guess he kind of is in a way, but yeah, just the ability to not accept his own limitations, like with the Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller graphic novel and stuff. He was wrestling with old age, and the limitations that old age put on him. When they got inside of his head, he's cursing himself out, not as fast as I used to be, too slow, you know what I mean? And stuff. He has to come up with ways to compensate for that, and that was a hell of a graphic novel, man. That might have been one of the greatest, and it really spoke to his character, that his whole life he had to give to this, and he never could accept his limitations. He had to just keep pushing, like right up until the end. And God knows, when I was reading that back in the day, I wasn't thinking this story about this white guy and stuff like that. I'm thinking, shit, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like just watching this and feeling that drive, you know what I mean? And what that would mean, that would mean to, like, what it would take to get me in a mindset like that when I'm challenged with something, to just say, damn it, too slow, or damn it, I wasn't smart enough, or you know what I mean? Or I didn't try hard enough, and you push yourself more, and that's got nothing to do with race. It's got to do with something inside. It's got to do with a character, like I said, a content of character, which is what it's supposed to be about. And not coincidentally, these paper thin characters that they come up with now, you just don't feel them. We had to go through 3 Star Wars movies not feeling the main character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If she's gone, it's over, and she's gonna be forgotten. Nobody knows who the hell she was, what drove her, why was she even in the story? You know what I mean? To begin with. They tried to give her something at the end, but they tried to rush some connection, but it's all fake, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Give me something I can feel. So this right here, this whole New Warriors BS, and they have the black guy, and I talked about this on my video, where his power can only be triggered in the service of others. You know what I mean? So it's like he has no will of his own to be able to protect himself. It's always got to be about what he can do for other people, which is a racist concept anyway. When you go back to it, when you put that on a black guy, I think I talked in my video about this illustration that I saw called The Perfect Slave, where they separated the head from the body, and they just had a strong body without a head, without the ability to think, without free will, and that's how they created this guy, Safe Space. He doesn't have free will over his power. His power is triggered, and that's the way they put it, by others. So yeah.
So if I wanted to start a fight with him, I could probably kick his ass, because his powers don't protect himself, or
you could totally kick his ass.
Like, he got to, if I'm going to beat up on his friends or something, well, he might be able to make a force field to protect them. But okay, like so oh my god, so lame. And I know I like how you said that, the just body is just all they're being used, which is the most basic of anything. So I don't know what this character could do. I mean, maybe he'll write him to be fantastic, but I doubt it. It's like, what would he offer to anything? What would he be doing other than just, hey guys, you going, you're getting attacked? Okay, all right,
did
my part.
Nah, even
Hawkeye is useful. Like, this is funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, they could write him to be fantastic. I seriously doubt it. But my point is also that I tried to introduce my son into comics, a couple of years ago, because I want to encourage him to read, and when I was growing up, I was more likely to be reading a comic than anything else, but comics have always been more sophisticated than people give them credit for. So reading comics really did help me to, to build vocabulary, to learn, just different points of view, also philosophies. So I wanted my son to get into that. I also introduced him to Peanuts, Charlie Brown and stuff, because I love that as well. But it wasn't safe. When I took him to the comic shop a couple of maybe last year, and I was picking up some comics, and I believe in looking at everything before he does. So I'm looking at the comic and I'm paging through it, and I'm like, no, not this one. The next one, not that one. And it's just like, it just wasn't safe. It's like there was no way to direct him without him being, I guess, exposed to something that he wouldn't have been comfortable with, and I wouldn't be comfortable with him seeing until I can actually talk to him about it.
What was it, like an ideology, like in the book?
Yeah, it was ideologies. Sometimes it was, I think one of them had two guys, like making out and stuff, and I just wasn't ready to have that talk with him yet. And we have had that talk, but I do know for a fact that my son is uncomfortable with that. I mean, he would actually be uncomfortable with a guy and a girl also, making out. Kids is like, they ill, at that point, and stuff. But definitely the two guys thing is not something that he would have been comfortable with. And it wasn't time for it. You know what I mean? It's like I just wanted to get him into the adventure of it all. Yeah. And the excitement of it all. Like it was, like back in the day and stuff. But now everything is about agendas and acceptance and tolerance, and all that stuff is good, but that's not for him at that stage. Yeah.
It should always be in what's the word I'm looking for? You should always take everything in small amounts, doses. That's the word I'm looking for. Accept in doses. Not everyone gets a freaking trophy. And I could just see you walking into the comic store with your son and like letting him go, like, hey, all right, we're here, and he comes walking up to you with something. I would freak out. Like I walked to the comic shop up here at the Mall of Georgia, and I didn't have my kid. Well, I did have my kids, but they were older, and I grabbed one comic book off the shelf. I thought, oh, there's, a sexy chick on it. That was like XXX stuff in there, man. How many walk into this comic shop, pick up that book, and go, yeah? How often does that happen?
Yeah. And we all know that illustrations sometimes can get racy and all that stuff. But, that aspect of the comics kind of grew up with us. Like if I started reading the reprints first, so I would read the Kirby era, like Fantastic Four or Steve Ditko. Even John Byrne didn't get so bad with it, but later on it got like a lot more, like the women got a lot more voluptuous and stuff like that. And, at a certain point in my life, that did help me, on certain occasions and stuff. Right. But like I said, that was part of my development. It's like I didn't jump into it with that. You know what I mean? It's like I appreciated the characters first, and then later on you were like, boobies. Yeah.
You're like, oh, nice. Yeah, new discoveries. Yeah, I still like these comics for some reason, but I'm not reading them as much. No. I like that.
It's inevitable. I mean, you can't shield kids from the world. I mean, this is the way the world is now, and I've had plenty of I guess diversity, like in my family, in my circle of friends and stuff. And, cool people are just cool people, and exploiting a certain group is never a good thing. Exploiting a certain group for for your own political gain or something. I mean, like as a black guy, you know what I mean? It's like I don't appreciate seeing token black characters. If you're not going to develop them, don't bother. Like with this character here, safe space. I don't need that shit in my life, man. You know what I mean? It's like, because I don't of all the things they use to describe him, I don't see the the depth of his character. I don't see the drive of his character.
Yeah.
In the development of his character. You know, like watching Finn, you know, in that last so-called trilogy, it was painful because he wasn't developed the way he should have been.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
And and my son, who was much younger at the time, loved Finn in The Force Awakens. In The Last Jedi, it turned him off. And I had been sharing Star Wars with him. You know, up until that point, we were having a great time with it. We watched all of the prequels, the original trilogy. Even, like I said, The Force Awakens, we were still hanging in there. But with The Last Jedi, he was done. And it wasn't anything that I did, anything that I said. He just decided, you know, he's like, the first thing he said was, Dad, why is Luke acting that way? You know, like he loved Luke Skywalker, you know, and to see him turn out that way never should have happened. Never should have happened. And now it can't be unseen. It's like, that's the crime of it.
Yeah.
You know, we can say Jake Skywalker all we want, but man, it happens. It happened.
When people said, let's have Rise of Skywalker, Luke wakes up and it was all a dream. I'm like, we all saw it though. We all remember it. We all know that happened. Even if they say it's not real, we still experienced it as if it was real. So
absolutely, man. You know, it's like all due respect to Ivan Ortega. You know, shout out to Ivan Ortega. He did the re-edit, you know, and tried to fix it. And I watched the whole thing, you know, and I really appreciated the hard work that he did. I mean, he really paid attention to details. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't want to hear that music anymore. I didn't want to see that landscape anymore. You know, it just makes me sick that movie even exists.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know,
it's still hard to watch.
It's unfixable. You know, it can't be fixed. And then, you know, when the next one came, it was even worse because they brought back Palpatine for some reason. And oh my God, man, what a mess. What an absolute mess. Yeah.
But I wanted to comment real quick on a character. I was just thinking about this while we were talking, and it's like they could have made Safe Space that type of power, like of where it can only be his shielding can only be used to protect other people. Like I'd see that character as somebody who wants to be like a fireman or wants to be like in some type of an actual civic duty job, not a guy on a team fighting supervillains. The thing would be like, you know, maybe it'd be kind of traumatic. Like I can save, you know, and to quote Palpatine, he could save others from death, but not himself or something. Like maybe he could have some kind of issues, or maybe he's like, you know, maybe his shielding, though it can be used for defense, you know, if aimed wrong, can slice off someone's hand or something. So it can be used. He can accidentally hurt the people he's trying to save. You can make some type of drama with this. Like One Punch Man is like I haven't watched it, but the gist that I'm getting is that he is struggling with the fact that he'll always win all his fights. Like anytime he's challenged, okay, it's like that's it. And it's like, you know, that's tough. And then you're trying to get other people around you and keep them safe. Yeah, you're the strongest guy in the room, but it doesn't mean that, you know, they'll have to be able to defend themselves too. Like it's not just on you. What if something happens to you that isn't in a fight? Something can still happen to you where you're not able to save somebody, or where you're getting hurt without it being a physical fight or something. And there's different ways you can make drama and characters, and like even a gay character. Do you guys ever watch Spartacus, the TV show?
Love that show.
Yeah, you know Agron. Like he's gay, but that I almost didn't even get that when he started making out with that one dude. I was like, oh shit, he's gay. Oh, wouldn't have guessed. Like it's just like no, okay, but he's still great regardless. Like perfect example though. They developed his character.
You know, it's like they developed his character. Yeah, it didn't even matter at that point because you know he was a fighter. It was presented that way in those times and stuff. So it wasn't like it was out of the ordinary. It wasn't gratuitous or anything like that. Yeah. And yeah, man, I own that actually, you know, so that's how much I loved it. Although I was sad when Andy passed away. Yeah. You know, it was Andy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He was the first person in the show.
Yeah. Yeah. But they picked it up the best way that they could, you know, so yeah.
But I mean,
I'll always love that show.
But it's like they never once made that character's gayness any part of the show. It was just, you know, everyone else screws around and he does too. It's just with the dude who gives a shit. He's the guy that survives in the end. You know, that sees sorry guys, the spoilers, but if you know anything about history anyway, you know spoilers anyway. Spartacus dies, and he's right there. The brother love, not gay love. There, it's like, dude, it was like that's how you do a character. That character first, gay second. Who gives a shit? That's something they can learn from. We have Abu Nas in here. I haven't seen him in a while. What's up, dude? The salute to my awesome panel. Kick ass in there, you guys. Appreciate that, dude.
Shout out to my brother Abu Nas, the Dark Council. That's what's up. What's up, Abu?
Hell
yeah, man. Yeah, good to see you here.
Oh yeah. Pop culture minefield.
Each other,
Yep. Pop culture minefield says, I will say this: we survived season 3 of Star Trek TOS. I don't know what that is. And the first 2 seasons of TNG. I don't watch Star Trek, so I have no idea what these are saying. That we can survive the Disney films.
Yeah.
Really? Do you really go on?
Oh, you're a fan of Star Trek, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Star Trek. Even bad Star Trek, from back in the day, is preferable to me than what they're doing today.
Yes.
Picard is something that never should have happened, ever. The only thing that I've seen in Picard so far that I kind of like, besides the fact that Jerry Ryan is still very hot, is yes, bravo Jerry Ryan, man, is Riker and Troy. I love the episode with Riker and Troy for them. It's like everything else that happened in the episode was BS.
Right.
But I do like the fact that Riker was very, very protective of Picard. He still seemed like he was number one still. He still seemed like I will whoop your ass. Like the girl got like rough with Picard, and Riker was like, hey, and I was like, yeah, man, yeah, yes. get her. You know what I mean? And when they did a group hug, that was everything that we did not get in that so-called sequel trilogy that we should have. Just give Luke, Han, and Leia a group hug. I will have to say that Picard is superior to that sequel trilogy just for that, because at least they gave us that. After all they had been through and the way they played it, it was so freaking tender, man. Like, for all they had been through, for all we saw them go through, I felt that group hug. If I had seen Han, Luke, and Leia just embrace each other one more time, I would have been a freaking crybaby in the movie theater. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They couldn't even give us that, man. But
that should have been the first half of the movie's adventure, is with the original cast, all of them. I think that should have been the first adventure.
Yeah, we have to catch up with them first before we go on. And Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac and John Boyega, all of them, they were fairly charismatic. We could have loved them if they were presented the right way. Yeah. After the Force Awakens, I wasn't really mad at them, although I did identify that Rey was a little bit OP. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if they had presented them the right way, everything could have been different.
When Rey was first on screen, not talking and just showing her do her day to day, that was great. Just doing her scavenging stuff and kind of telling us about her without saying anything. We didn't see her doing any super amazing feats yet. That was cool. I like that. I was good storytelling on that.
Absolutely. I loved John Williams' music for her. The doom, 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 doom. It's like there were so many ways. If you had given John Williams inspiration with the story, there are so many ways he could have worked that for romance. He could have worked that for drama. You know what I mean? He could have made her epic if they had written her the right way. Yeah. But they didn't, and it's like, you guys, man, go ahead.
Do you watch Dragon Ball, or have you ever watched Dragon Ball Z or any of that stuff?
I've watched Dragon. I did my time doing a marathon of Dragon Ball Z a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just have to say, by the way, about that, I've always loved the fact that in Dragon Ball Z, you can watch somebody get beat to death. I have never seen that in a cartoon before. So yeah.
Yeah, what I'm with that is that if they had Rey, not the same, but if she was kind of like Gohan, like as to where it being this hidden power that she has, but have it be more that she can't control it or something. That would have been an amazing story. I'm pretty sure you probably heard that around, where if she can use all these force powers, but it's not out of her consciously doing it. She's like, accidentally blows up something, and it's like she's terrified of her own power or something. That would be interesting. Like, she's some type of a weird forced fuck up or something, where it's like, oh shit, she's just unstable with it completely, has no idea. It just shows up randomly. She accidentally kills a whole village or something.
Fascinating. That
would be a pretty good start. Or, even if they had the beginning of The Force Awakens being like Han, Leia, Chewie, Luke, and Kylo Ren all sitting around talking to start or something. You kind of see some of the seeds. This being, as him as Kylo or something, as the enemy, whatever. That'd be an interesting interaction to see firsthand. Like, oh, they're just talking straight up to the enemy like that, and then okay, maybe he's like, I'll give you guys a day's head start, before attacking or something. Out of respect for my mother and father, or to get like, oh shit, all right, he's kind of. Got some honor with him as a character, but he wants to kill his parents. That's weird, But I don't know. You can see those seeds, and then so you already have them interacting, and then you can, trickle down to the newer characters, Poe, Finn, Rey, as you go with the story. And like, what if Finn was there with Kylo and stuff, sees this interaction with them, and he's kind of one of Kylo's buddies or something. What if Kylo's friends with the stormtrooper? Like a random one. That'd be something.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would have taken character development, which they weren't trying to do. It's like, for Rey, I played around with the thought that if Luke had found her, for example, Rey was on her own, when we met her in that movie, that first one. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't she have been feral? Why wouldn't she have had a hard time communicating with people? I would have liked to have seen a much rougher and raw Rey, struggling more so with the dark side, because her survival instinct would have been to kill to survive. Yeah. She was a young girl in a hostile environment. All right. You can't tell me that she wouldn't have been a lot more brutal with predators around her and stuff like that. I would have loved to have seen her that way. And I believe that Daisy Ridley could have played her that way.
I agree.
Where like somehow Luke would have sensed that powerful force inside of her, or been drawn to it, or discover her somehow. And he would have to teach her temperament. He would have to teach her discipline. That would have been a much more compelling story to me, where you would have seen,
maybe she'd have already accidentally killed somebody. Dark side came out, like the Force didn't awaken when she was 23. It awoken when she was left on that planet and she had to fend for herself. I love that idea.
Yeah, imagine if we had gotten that.
I feel like they could have played a similar scene to when she meets BB-8, but instead of trying to save BB-8 from somebody, she kills the person for it, like to sell.
There you go. Yes.
Yes. In my head, a while back, I was writing a rewrite, which I went through the whole first draft, and then I was kind of making the second draft, and other projects I've been doing to push that behind. But one of the things was that, to fit with how they set her up, was that she, like, to explain her speaking Wookiee or something, she has like the head of a protocol droid or something that can teach language and whatnot, have some back and forth in her little setup and whatnot. And I think I like she should have been a little more ravaged, a little less human-like, unless she does talk to people every day. Like in the movie, they showed it as if she commutes, she has a job. Why wouldn't she be more social-ish? With Luke, they're on a farm. That's how farm people live. Is they do trade, and that's a common thing and stuff. With her, it's just out there and goes in and gets a sandwich. Like, I don't know. I don't really get it. I feel like she'd make more sense if she'd learn how to attack, or that'd be something too. If she was raised, maybe she's got a family of Tusken Raider like people, not exactly Tuskens, but more primitive, attack people every now and then type of race. That's how they found her. Ready to stab you, or like, oh, I'm innocent, stab you in the throat another second or something.
Yes.
Knows how to play the innocent game or something, and then slice your throat. Even if she's not skilled, that's a sneak attack. It's using some type of move that'd be different in Star Wars. Though it is Disney, I have to always remember, which always.
That's why I always said Disney is just not a good fit for Star Wars.
It's like,
because if you,
I feel like they could, because they've done good things before, but they never want to scare a kid, really. Though they do that on accident, I feel, a lot in a lot of their older stuff.
They always kill the mom in all their cartoons.
Yeah. I actually made that observation also, in the video. I mean, yeah, without fail. They're very anti-family at the end of the day.
Like Toy Story 3, like they end up scaring kids in ways that we wouldn't think of. Like Toy Story 3, they're accepting they're about to die. Like, holy shit. That's
the
kid could be like, oh, they're just gonna die? What? They're just
Disney can be quite deceptive, but I just feel like after Revenge of the Sith, all right, I really do feel like we were heading into a place with Star Wars where we could have gotten more darker, we could have got more brutal. Their tech in that movie actually looked more sophisticated than anything we saw in this sequel trilogy. It feels like we didn't go forward. We should have had that feeling that we were going forward into that world, but we already heard round-headed buffoon Ryan Johnson say he wasn't interested in world building, and it showed. What did we actually see that made us say, wow? I mean, there were so many shots in Revenge of the Sith that was like, holy crap, look at this place. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it looks great. And what do we see? Like the freaking side of a mountain somewhere and water and
well, it's like if we were to watch Lord of the Rings and have it just on like a narrow path of the characters of a couple characters and what they're doing, that'd be kind of boring. But like they walk through and interact with people, and you get to see that there's a world that is lived in here. There's a history already with the sequel trilogy. There wasn't any lived inness. It was just hey, people aren't coming. Can we see some citizens going, fuck the resistance guys? I don't know. There's another galactic war going on. Is this like the 30th in the last 20 years? Like, can we just, I don't care who's up there. We're just, did you go take the garbage out? I'm going to go set up the Xbox or something. Like, what do the people think? What do they care? What is the First Order even fighting for and why? Because they just want to control because the way like Palpatine did it was out of, hatred of the Jedi and wants to control all of it because they never had full control. So why not?
Yeah.
Change it the way they want it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm almost trying to imagine what Palpatine would have been like after he crushed the Jedi for the most part, and his empire has won. And now what does he strive to do? Like he did that whole thing. Now what does he do next? Palpatine on Dancing with the Stars. Like I don't know. It's like, well, what do you do after you win everything?
Yeah, absolutely. You were gonna say, Flip?
Oh, sorry. Hey, my pops came in. I always felt like they would. He waved back. I know he did. I always feel like they should have gone in a spiritual direction there. I wanted to explore the Force, like in a video game. When you get your character, what are the first few things you want to do with your Star Wars character?
Push a character with the Force, or lift them and toss them.
Exactly. You want to mess with the Force, and then as you play the game, you want to learn what new Force powers, earn more Force powers. You want to get into the religion of it. What's the story? The story is the most important. So I was hoping they'd put all the Death Stars and large weapons aside and these massive planet-sized wars where billions of people are fighting one another in the land and the sea and space, and just made it like a one-on-one, really personal battle. The kind where a dagger is the one thing you're fighting over, and you either win or lose. You're all alone, like a really intimate, deadly.
Interesting.
Yeah, and another Disney-fied gigantic thing like this was immediately, even it's in The Force Awakens for me, I felt like I was getting a giant Oscar Mayer to the face, man. I was like,
they make a Bug's Life feel like a bigger universe than the sequel trilogy.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? But I never thought about it like that because they wouldn't even need to have that be a trilogy. You could do a very powerful one shot, with that,
Yeah.
that subject matter right there. And it builds up into perhaps a greater story or development. I mean, everybody looks at Marvel in the way they did those movies where they built up. They had to do the little individual stories and stuff first.
Mhm.
If you develop time, I mean, if you took the time and invested time in developing those conflicts as well as the characters, you could have a huge payoff. But they're just looking at the blockbuster aspect of it. They want huge openings at all costs. And the cost too often is the cost of, the plot,
Yeah.
the honesty of the characters and that drive,
Yeah.
So like I said, it's soulless. You don't feel it.
You see, that's something I think I discussed this with Flip a few times too in the past, where it's like you could have I thought of it like that too, kind of, where you can have a Star Wars movie take place on one planet. It just doesn't need to be going everywhere. You can still have interesting battles. You can still have things with characters. In my head, I'm thinking of like a monster in the house scenario, where it's like, like in those movies, that's the whole setting of the movie is mostly in that house. And, there's a lot of different things that happen in that time. For a Star Wars movie, it had to be some kind of interesting building, I think, to keep viewers more attended to it, because otherwise it's, why is this even a Star Wars movie, I guess? But, that could be something interesting. And you could have this be in the middle of a war with somebody, but you're mostly focusing on this over here. And, maybe you cut back to the war aspect a few times, or that's the type of thing. Maybe there's this huge battle going on somewhere else, but for half the movie, you're with like 2 or 3 characters that are confined, or, at least not exploring somewhere big, and can, cut back between the stories. So you get to your big action stuff here. That's their own form of dramatic payoff or something. And over here with smaller payoff, but still in a big way. Like, there's so many ways you can do it. There's no way you don't have to do it a certain way. The original trilogy and the prequel trilogy did what Star Wars needs. Now you can play with what it can be, but don't just drag it through dog shit. Like, let's drag it through some clean water or something. Go to a different.
For some reason, that's making me think about another scene in Revenge of the Sith. When Anakin is just about to give in to his fear, and Mace has gone to face Palpatine, and he leaves Anakin behind. Anakin is standing in the room, and he's looking out across the way, right? And all the way across the way, you have Padme, who's freaking scared out of her mind, right? And she's looking in the direction of Anakin, and the way that is shot, it's like the tension there. There's no words in that scene.
Yeah.
All right. But we already know what's building up inside of him. Very, very quiet, very, very intimate. One teardrop. This dude is gone. You know what I mean? He's a slave to his fear. Right. And on the other side of it, she's desperate. She's desperate. She's scared for him, because she just doesn't know. And that's what, that made me think about the quiet moments. You've already gotten us invested in their emotional state, which doesn't need a bunch of explosions and stuff like that. It's like watching that again. I was like, holy crap, man, this movie. I think I even wrote on Twitter, at the time, I got to stop watching this, man. This thing is wearing me out, because once you get into the emotions of it and stuff, it's like, wow, he definitely did something right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and, I agree with you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments is in Attack of the Clones when Anakin's mom is dead. She just died. And the music is building. And he's just, realizing it. And it's like, dun 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 dun.
Yes.
And then they show him kill like 2 people. And that's it. You don't need to see the whole slaughtering. A lot of people will say that they wish that they would have shown the slaughtering of the Tuskens or the slaughtering of the younglings. No. It's actually better, in my opinion, that they don't. You see, Master Skywalker, what's we going to do? You can just imagine him saying, "You can die." And what benefit would that be to us to see a bunch of kids getting slaughtered in that? I mean, the impression of the scene, and we know what happens after, is enough. I think Obi-Wan's shock of like that's my brother did that. Fuck
yeah. And when
this Qui-Gon
and when Yoda tells him, you're gonna have to go and take him out. You know, and Obi-Wan, the emotion of that, you know, he's like, I can't, that's my brother. He's like, send me after Palpatine. I'll take Palpatine, but not Anakin. And Yoda has to tell him, listen, you can't take Palpatine. You have to go after Anakin, you know? And yeah, you know, like I said, man, magnificent.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
And you know, real quick, enough Flip, you're going to say something real quick, but like I like the way that they did it in Revenge of the Sith with Anakin versus Obi-Wan, but I do feel like it could have maybe been slightly better if like there's more Obi-Wan trying to convince Anakin to go back. He kind of accepted that's who he is and is going to try to fight him now, and just kept saying, you were cool, you were good, instead of, no, you still are, you could still, you know, change. Now he was just like, nope, he's already gone. The only solution is to kill him. But I mean, in a way, I think I forget who brought this up, if it was the script doctor or Tom from Midnight's Edge, but they're like, Luke was like the only Jedi to try to get a Sith back to the light rather than the dark. Like, it's always the Sith are always going, use your fear, use your anger, and the Jedis are always like, no, we're just gonna try to kill you. And it's like Luke does no, there's good in you, you could still be good too, and you know, I succeeds. And that was like the first time we see that. So I just wanted to comment on that.
No, it makes sense. It actually works with kind of what I was going to say. Like, I was agreeing with Mark about it has to contrast. The noise and the epicness has to contrast with the quiet and intimate. And Luke was going to be able to, in my mind, in The Force Awakens, I thought Luke would be showing the balance of the lighting and the dark. You'd have, you know, the dark side, which lived in Luke in the way. God, I know, right? It was such a loss with Return of the Jedi to go into that. But yeah.
What you guys are saying is just, oh, it hurts. It's never gonna not hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, especially, you know, the whole Luke was the only one to try to bring him back. And when I think about that, and I'm like, yeah, well, it makes sense that he would turn around and try to kill his very own nephew, you know? Mm-hmm. You know, you just completely forgot who he was. But, you know, by that time, they had already decided, I think, that Leia was supposed to be the chosen one.
Right.
Which, excuse me, I'm sorry, is bullshit. All right. I don't care. It's like, I don't care about, you know, the whole feminist thing. Look, Leia and I never got into reading the books. Okay. So, you know, people can tell me about what she did in the books, and that's great. You know, shout out to OG, you know, Star Wars and everything. Yeah, absolutely. She can tell you all about that. And, you know, I'm starting to get into it more because of her, you know, but the fact of the matter is that Leia, you know, she was a princess, you know, and she was a diplomat, and she went on to be a mother. You know, being a Jedi Knight, to me, on top of all that, is overkill. I feel like she had a very respectable arc. She fell in love. You know, she learned how to love. She saw her planet get blown up. How many people did she know on there personally who died? You know, and she went on. Her story is admirable enough. Making her the chosen one is some BS. Yeah. Luke is the one that we met. Luke is the one that we traveled with. You know, that we you know, when I was a kid, seeing him find out that Darth Vader was his father was it floored me. You know, it's like, oh my God, you know, like how, like me and my father had a complicated relationship, but damn, you know what I mean? So it meant so much. And to have it belittled the way it is now, you know, every time I turn around, they're taking something more from Luke, just killing the character. And it's just so damn tragic, you know, and for what? Now they're saying that it was Leia that Yoda wanted to train and not Luke. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Never.
When it's like with the prequels, when I think it was the prequels when they introduced and said that Anakin was the chosen one. Like, that was the first time they said the words "the chosen one," right? Where they said that the Anakin was supposed to be the main one to take down evil, basically. I feel like that was just kind of set up more to explain how tragic it is that he was able to turn so evil for so long. Like, you know, that's all that's pretty much meant to be. Is that, you know, he had all the guidance that he could, and he was on the good side, and then betrayed all that, but in the end, last second kind of realized was right, and that's something. But now they're playing with that term so much, going, no, maybe it was just misread, so it's somebody else, and it's somebody else, and it's like, okay, now they're the ones that are reading too much into the Chosen One thing. Like that was, you can have a cool character that isn't the Chosen One. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this whole series. Luke wasn't the Chosen One, but he saved the Chosen One, basically. He is the reason for the Chosen One being able to do anything. Like Obi-Wan guided the Chosen One, and in the end, I'd say failed him because he kept on telling him things by the rules. Really, wasn't really being as much of the brother that Anakin kind of sought for. In the end, it's kind of how I see that. Like in the last moment, he accepted, you're gone. Yeah. And so it's just, it's a little different like that. And Rey she could be an outstanding character if they wrote her well, and doesn't have to be the Chosen One. Same with Leia. Leia, having all those accomplishments without being the Chosen One makes her instantly better in a way, like in her own way. Like if just, and she's also the Chosen One, by the way. It's like, well, okay, so now, I mean, the point was she didn't have the destiny. She didn't have any prophecy, anything. She did all these feats anyway, so that'd be better. But
well, in the Rebels episode where Maul spoiler alert, dies, he's in Obi-Wan's arms and he says, you're talking about Luke, is he the Chosen One? Well, yeah, he's kind of the Chosen One since Anakin kind of screwed up, but I've always wondered how that works exactly. I guess they both were the Chosen One. That family could have been the Chosen One. But it was, for me, it was always Luke was the Chosen One. Always for me growing up. When they made Anakin the Chosen One, that's when I went, huh? Okay. But I get it. I mean, I can see where it works. I can see where it works. But then it always fell back to Luke carrying on Anakin's legacy and helping him become the Chosen One who gets rid of the Sith and, brings light back or whatever. So it was still ultimately Anakin. But I mean,
at that point, it's semantics. By that point, it's semantics, and they both were great characters anyway.
Yeah, fit right in there anywhere.
Yeah.
My son just knocked me out again, so let me get right back on.
Oh, your audio's cutting out.
Yeah, if you want to come back,
Yeah, I'll be right back.
All right, that's cool. Yep, I can't hear him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hop out and come back.
All right, Riot Kitty says, I'm just kind of getting sick of lady characters that have to be dunking on guys' accomplishments to be strong and powerful. That ain't strong and powerful. That's cowardly. Yeah, I agree.
I would agree with that.
Yep, that's too common a thing these days, I would say. Imagine that Snowflake is going to dunk all over a safe space's accomplishments. I guess, too. I don't know.
It's really gross and funny.
Yep.
Yeah, you never know.
Yep, all right, and he is back.
Yeah, that was a little easier than last time. But yeah, okay.
Cool.
All right, that's good.
It's about that time I'm going to have to go pick him up. But I've always, mixed up the Chosen Ones between Anakin and Luke, just because Luke was our Chosen One from the beginning.
Right.
And Anakin was kind of revealed, later as the Chosen One. And he is the Chosen One. But, like I said, the whole belittling of Luke in favor of Leia is really what gets to me. And, Leia is a beloved character as well. I love Leia for who she is and for what she is. There's no need to do that, to make her more, so, that's why, I definitely reject that.
She's already badass. Let's see if we can make her even more badass. Sir, we can't. Okay, let's make Luke less badass and Han less badass, and then, that'll raise her up inadvertently or something. It's like, no, it's not needed. So she's already up here with the other characters. Let's lower them to make her look like she went up.
Yeah, what was it? Galaxy of Adventure, the cartoon or whatever, where they had her slapping Luke.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
which, like, you know, imagine if they did it in reverse, or like Han slapped her or something, like give move bitch. It's like they wouldn't like that, would they? And it's like I liked what you were saying, Mark, about how she her and the end of her arc was finding love and being a mother, because she already was all the badassness that she could be in A New Hope. Love and romance was nothing on her mind. She just wanted to defeat this freaking empire and protect people. And that was it. And then by the end, it's like, okay, well, she can let some people in a little closer than she normally kind of does, and that's where she kind of ends up at the end. And I think she could still be a senator in some kind of way, or some type of a impressionable force. But you know, the way I kind of thought of her was that she would, if she could learn the force, she would kind of use it vaguely, learn a little bit to, like, if somebody is attacking her or her family, she can kind of do something, maybe, or maybe at least learn a few defensive maneuvers with a lightsaber if she were able to make one. I don't know, like that. I feel like it would just be a mild hobby or something, like not her perfection or anything. Just oh yeah, I kind of learned how to do. I dabbled in some Jedi and Force stuff, like, is what I would think do, to like more for the protection of her family than to, you know, be a Jedi Knight. God, that's so stupid. This is the cutaway scene in The Rise of Skywalker. Oh my God.
No, she was very she was very capable. The way she was very capable as a fighter, as a leader. You know, you didn't need to go as that extra mile. You know, she was going to go on to become a mother. You know, her and Han Solo, they were going to have their lives together and stuff. I don't see how being a Jedi Knight figures into all of that for that particular character.
And imagine if they still had, like, let's say that they still had Kylo turn evil. What if they had like a 5-year-old kid to still look after while Kylo was evil? You know, that'd be interesting to see that. You see a motherly person, and she's got to try to lead this resistance because the rebels or the Republic doesn't like her. I don't know what the hell story they're trying to go with that for, but you know, that'd be interesting to see. A mother trying to do this rather than just an old senator. I don't understand. They called her general. I hated them calling her general.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think she'd still just be Princess Leia. Like in my version of a rewrite of this stuff, it would be, she'd be kind of like trying to go planet to planet and trying to get some type of peace going so that people can see the people that are in like running the galaxy basically, and try to develop trust personally with them or something, with peoples of the planets and whatnot. Try to do it like that, and maybe people like her, maybe they don't, but she'd still be known as Princess Leia, even if she is whatever status. I feel like that would just make sense, unless they want to call her Queen. Absolutely. But that's not as catchy as Princess. So
yeah. But there was plenty of room for her to grow, on the course that she was.
Yeah.
Going, like I said, even the sequel trilogy doesn't do anything to lend substance to that, because, I made the point before, if she was so powerful in the Force, then in The Last Jedi, when Luke so-called faces off with Kylo, why was she just in the bunker looking hopeless? If she was so powerful and she had the ability to change anything, or why would she wait for Rey to move the rocks, when she could have done that herself? None of it is honest.
Yeah,
none of it is honest.
Step aside, flick. Yeah. When she busted down the door in the ship on The Last Jedi, that looked so bizarre. Just like when she was in space, I'm just like, this is bizarre. And she's really old, and I feel this doesn't make any sense at all. And, it's space movie, wizards, children. Yes, but even they can make sense. Like, it doesn't, there's things that aren't supposed to make sense, like the fact that they can use powers, but that's part of the world that can make sense. They establish, that's the thing that bugs me too, is like, they establish in A New Hope, basically, that space, other than the explosions and sound that you hear, is pretty much how it is in real life. Space is basically the same, but they figured out light speed travel and stuff. But other than that, you get sucked out, you die. Like, all the effects are the same pretty much. Maybe it's not as graphic, but it's still bad. And then in The Last Jedi, they're like, nah, they don't get blown flying away. They just kind of float there. They're fine, and they just come back in. It's like, nah, they even in the Clone Wars TV show, they made an episode that's kind of, they had Plo Koon. He has his mask on, and he's an alien. So, yeah, he can survive out there without a suit. The clones are like, yeah, we're about to die out here because they're in their suits, too, limited air. And some died because their helmets were off, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty much space and how that works, and they're making it kind of clear that's how their universe runs. Normal space rules.
Yeah, but you have these maniac writers and directors and stuff who think that they can make the world bend to their will. Like I said, once again, Ryan Johnson saying he's not interested in world building. Well, like I said before, it showed, because if you had respect for what came before, you realize you do have to learn this. You just don't get to come in and just make stuff up and make your own rules. Not in Star Wars, not in an established property. Go make your own fantasy world someplace else that doesn't make any sense. But when you come into this world, there's rules, you know what I mean? And you got to follow those rules. You got to learn the rules. These guys should have spent quality time with George Lucas. They should have went around to some of the conventions, and met the fans. You should have found out what the phenomenon was that you were stepping into before you tried to come in and manipulate it. Because like I said, what they did is a failure for all time. And I don't care what anybody says, trying to attack those of us who know better and stuff. The shit didn't make any sense. And generations from now, nobody is going to be talking about Rey, Finn, and Poe the way we've talked about Han, Luke, and Leia. They're not legends. There's no getting around that.
They're not talking about them now, except
it's like, why did they buy? If I were to ask Disney, why did you want to buy Star Wars? Was it so nobody else could? Because that's the only thing I can think of, is so they don't have the competition of Star Wars anymore. That's the only thing I can think of, because there's nothing there. When it's like,
there you go.
There's an audience there already. It's like, yeah, that's true, and that's probably why they didn't make their own thing. But that makes me see the story of Disney would be so much cooler if they could take be inspired by Star Wars and make something Star Wars-esque in their own fantasy sci-fi universe. Challenge themselves to make something original and good. That it starts from the ground up. That would be nice. That would be a good thing for Disney. But
I don't know if anybody remembers. A long time ago, they had a movie called The Black Hole. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Disney had a movie called The Black Hole.
Yes.
The Black Hole. Yeah. It was by Disney, and it was thrilling. All right. Of course, if you look at it now, of course, it's going to be dated and stuff like that. But I know my cat is not over there taking a dump on the floor. The kitty litter is over there. Okay. Anyway, so the Black Hole, the way that it wound up, they were in a whole different universe. You remember that?
I remember.
All right, and you could have created something right there that would have been awesome, because you gave yourself a whole blank slate to build a whole universe. They never needed Star Wars. All they had to do was go back and say, hey, we had something. Let's build something with this.
There's no originality anymore, Mark. There's no originality, no creativity. They want a guaranteed bucket of money, man. I hate that.
Yeah. What I wish was that George Lucas would have done something where, how Star Wars in a way is kind of protected so that people can make fan films and stuff without being charged or anything. I like that, but I wish that it would have been on a freer type of market where anybody can make Star Wars and anybody can profit from it, kind of in a way. I mean, I feel like that'd be kind of tricky with bigger studios, but it's
right.
you let the fans do it, and it's if a company wants to do it, yeah, they can do it, but the merchandise would have to be kind of on the same level of somebody on the internet. They have to kind of do it in the same rules as people on the internet would. For YouTube, and then so they could put production into this gigantic thing, and it wouldn't be the same type of you don't get a movie theater release unless it's limited theaters or something, and kind of do it the fan film way. But that'd be interesting. So then you can see the levels of it. Maybe companies would want to find people that make these fan films to do it for them under their YouTube channel or something, so that they can get their project. The people that want to make it can make it, but have it also seen on a gigantic platform. And anybody could do it though, from any where, you know, like
Bro,
people already.
hey.
There's so many that are out there, man. There's hundreds and thousands. There's probably over 1,000 Star Wars fan films, and so many that people haven't seen. And it's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, listen, genius is out there. Don't doubt it. It's like it's so arrogant to think that the best is behind us. You know, it's like something when it's allowed to happen, development can be amazing. You know, and well, you know, I liken it to, you know, like I grew up, you know, listening to hip hop, you know, love hip hop and stuff. And I don't need to be the old guy who's saying, you know, oh, back in my day, hip hop was real, you know, and everything. And hip hop today is so lame, right? It's like, I don't think that to me, hip hop is lame today. I don't think that hip hop is lame just because the young people are lame. I think that the big companies and corporations have decided. My son is calling again.
Yep.
Hold on.
Okay.
You guys still hear me?
It's kind of faded at the moment. It's kind of faded.
I'll be back.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, he's frozen. He's looking at us like, nah.
Yeah, he's frozen. Yeah, I was going to ask him about Clone Wars, what he thinks about that. And then, of course, Mandalorian and Ahsoka. But we've had such a good and wonderful conversation about all this. The actual natural insight is it's nice. Nice to hear. And I see what you're saying about the everyone, you know, fan films, because there are a lot of good people, creators out there. I mean, Star Wars Theory. I mean, that's a given. That do really good fan films, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's more than that. There's the guys who made the Star Wars Origins fan film. There's quite a few others which names have escaped me right now because there's so many that I can't think of them at the moment, that, you know, just put in 5 minutes, but they make it such great quality. And it's like, if they had backing by other studios that want to help support that, to help get, like, you know, kind of a mutual type of deal, like you make this product, you know, and we'll help fund you and promote it, and you make it as good as possible, give us all the views possible here and whatnot, and we'll give you some type of paycheck for it. You know, you continue to do it, you'll earn more than you would have made just by making it. We'll make products we'll sell based on what you created, but, you know, we'll pay you for sure for making it for us. And that'd be something I think would be a cool, like, a way for Star Wars to be for everyone and help everyone, rather than it just being kind of a, you know, oh, we're Disney and we get it.
Yeah, master of puppets.
Yeah,
dance for the money. Dance so we make the money. You know, I love the idea even further, because George Lucas wanted studios and directors, creators he challenged them to create new technology for, you know, not moving effects forward, moving just the industry in general forward. I mean, THX, Skywalker sound, boom, CGI. How was Lucas?
Yeah, Lucasfilm Lights and Magic or whatever. There's so many innovations. I like that you brought that up, Flip, because that's something that people don't think about. Like with the originals and the prequels, like they were like they had to push themselves to the limit with everything. And as much as people hate the prequels, it's like, imagine if they didn't make Coruscant, or they didn't make all those ones with all the CGI they put, all the scary CGI they put into there. You know, how lame would that city look if it was just I mean, I'm not saying that they can't make it look good using like more real effects or less graphics, but it's like, you know, they pushed it to their limit with what they can do. You and I are like this too. If we find a way to maybe get something, we're going to try to push it to as good as we can get it with as little, even if we're using the shit stick, we're going to try to make the best use out of the shit stick.
Yeah, that's true. And we have a lot of those laying around. I mean,
exactly.
Well, with the free apps I use and you know, our ancient computers, sometimes we just use what we got. The shit stick, it is what it is. But you make the best out of it, right?
Exactly.
And by making it would be quite an experience, Rook, to see a lot of people. Oh, guess what? Star Wars license, it's free. Make what you like.
Yep.
People out there would make some amazing things. They would not have to worry about you know, being demonetized or copyright infringement or anything like that. you'd see a lot of the intimate stuff I want to see. You know, the very epic stuff that can bring it down to just something or like Mark was saying, a tear or just someone's breath, you know, a dying breath or whatever, and not have to worry about their bottom line. That some jackass is going to come in with a suit on and say, "What did we do last quarter? Did we make 10 billion or what?" You know, like,
Right.
I mean, you know, a lot of the people in Lucasfilm were like, "Okay, yeah, thanks anyway, jackass. You're ruining this whole kumbaya situation we had with George Lucas."
Yeah.
And we heard about that. We heard about the inner struggles of Skywalker Ranch and all of those fights that they were having. Remember, somebody put a Luke Skywalker picture with an anti symbol drawn on him in the cubicle or something.
Yeah, sorry, my cat's back here. She's playing with shit, and I don't want her to bite my remotes.
Oh yeah, you and Mark got the cats with the.
She thinks my remote's a chewing toy.
Cats.
Like, she thinks it's something to chew on.
I like cats.
You don't get to chew on it, Chica. Okay. No, but no, I agree with you on that. And there's one fan film that does something very different. It has this girl who's on this planet. It's in the times of the Empire, and she, lives a pretty, scavengery life, not too dissimilar to Rey, but it's on like a forest one. And every day they, when they're done doing their scavenging, they have to go get checked out by stormtroopers and like show them what they found and stuff. And there's this one stormtrooper that she likes to talk to, and he's usually kind of playing with her, but sometimes he's usually just like, yeah, whatever. That's pretty cool. He'll sometimes, end up talking a little more and maybe asking about her real quick or saying something. And, she's just super thrilled to see him every day. And the dad works with the rebels or something I was going to say the resistance for a sec, which is stupid. Yeah. The rebellion. And so he's like, oh no, I don't want you talking to the stormtrooper and whatnot. And it turns into some quick drama later.
I've seen that one. I've seen that
one. Yeah. And there's that one, and there's this other one that I thought was really great. It starts out pretty slow, and it's like her and her dad are like just going fishing or something. They're just camping around, and their mom is captured, and she was like a Jedi, I guess, or at least holding a lightsaber. I think she was a Jedi. I think she used the Force. And, she has a lightsaber too, or half of it or something. And that, she doesn't really know what it is though. And the dad ends up getting found by them on the planet and whatnot. And she's hidden. She sees her dad get shot and is like, oh shit. And she's got to run. And luckily she like runs through a lake or something that has a monster under it. The same little one that's under the dumpster or something, like kills all these people.
Yeah, that little thing. Yeah.
Kind of funny with the way that they do it, and it's like, it's just kind of interesting the way they did it, and the acting was great out of it. It wasn't the best, you could tell it was shot on Earth and whatnot, but it's like I enjoyed that type of thing because they made it about the emotions of the characters rather than everything else, and it's like, that's good. That's such good for small things to do, and for everybody that's there is invested. So
yeah, it's like the only thing missing was the money.
Yeah, pretty much. And, I've had some of these people, Flip, actually contact me because I've done videos talking about their videos basically. And like, wow, thank you so much for the support on there and sharing it out. We appreciate your review. If we do another one, we'll let you know and please do a review on it or something. So
yeah,
I'm like, okay. Like the guys who did the Power Rangers one, they contacted me on Instagram. Of all places. They're like, hey, you're the guy on YouTube that did that video, right? Can you do another one for our next episodes? I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah. So I'm hoping to get them on a live stream at some point and talk to them about it. But that's I don't know if I have a point anymore, but I'm trying to get to fan film creators have so much that they can do. And we're in a way it's good. In a way it's good that fan films and fan film creators don't have access to so much money because they have to figure out ways to make the best out of what they have. And sometimes they make something better than if they had the budget of billions of dollars, because you can have billions and make something like The Last Jedi and it's horrible. Or you can have $1,000 and make something like many fan films that we've seen that has way more passion in it, way more character focus, way more everything that we want to see. Even if it's not spectacularly visually awesome, just the characters, interactions, moments, even some of the lines they do are kind of fit in with Star Wars sometimes, and it's good to see that.
Marry the two.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah.
I want to say a proper good night, okay? Because I do have to go pick. I do have to pick him up now, and plus the charge on my phone just like drained out faster than I ever thought it was possible. But but yeah, I really enjoyed this. We have to do it again sometime when I have more control over that situation.
No problem.
But that was great, guys. Just thanks a lot for that. All right, and also I want to say to the chat, apologies. We weren't really paying attention to the chat. While I was off just now, I was reading a little bit of the chat, and I see a couple of guys were a little bit frustrated because I don't feel they were having their points acknowledged. So my apologies to the chat. I've always been bad with looking at the chat. So
it's all good. We sometimes at the end of these, we usually kind of go back and see what they want to say. It's hard to interrupt the conversation because then we got to like stop and then just do this and then come back, and there's so much. If only we had if only we could EFAP it, kind of.
I know.
Good.
Exactly. and you guys are so fascinating. It's like I have to listen to what you're saying and stuff because it's important. Good conversation.
Same with you,
man. Yeah. But all right, guys, thanks for putting up with all that, by the way, too. I appreciate that.
You're good.
Okay. All right. Be in touch.
Yep. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Go on. Yep. See you later. Everybody go and subscribe to Mark, according to Mark with the C. He's on Twitter. He's on YouTube. He's all around. He's got a Fandom Menace card as well, right? Fandom Menace collective card by Daniela. Yeah.
We are working on a video. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put his thing in the chat. You want to put it in? But we are doing a video about what it's going to take to get your card made, because we're going to be needing people's pictures. So we're going to put that together. We're going to put some of the cards in that video, most of them actually. And, Rook and I just talked about that. So that'll be coming soon.
Yep. I agree. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we end up closing out?
I'm good. What a absolutely stellar guest. I was so pleased to speak with him. Yeah,
that's great. I feel like 2 hours is not enough. We need more.
Yeah, more. No, easily.
Oh yeah, I appreciate everybody coming by in the chat. I see Culture Casino, Shellback, Classic Glue is here. Not My Star Wars, Riot Kitty, Entertainment Hacker from a while back. Who else is here? Death by Saber, Flipped Out. You don't count. Fanscene was here for a little bit. Pop Culture. Minefield, what's up? I'm glad you came by as well. Next time we'll pay a little more attention to the chat. On Sundays we try to make it more chat based for the most part. We'll sometimes have guests on too and pay attention with them, but we also try to give it back to the chat as well. When we have certain guests though, sometimes it's like we haven't been able to talk, so we're just getting into it. So we apologize if you guys had some more stuff you wanted addressed, especially by Mark.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. We'll get to it next time. Promise.
Yep, we promise. And that's pretty much it. We'll be back on Sunday. Did you say we have a guest for Sunday, Flip?
Yeah, I believe so far it looks like Drunk 3PO.
All right. I thought you were just gonna say a drunk, like make him think
we're gonna have somebody drunk.
We found a drunk, been keeping him in the shed. We're gonna get a drunk on the channel or something.
Right.
That'd be good. But I think with that, we shall play it out. Have a good one, guys.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!